over the last few days, the Ghana Revenue Authority has stepped up its clampdown on tax defaulters making visits to shopping malls in the capital. It has been a chaotic incident in some cases, with some of the managers being arrested for failing to implement the right VAT module. This afternoon, the Ghana Revenue Authority will be here to explain the rationale for the clampdown and what all businesses and individuals can do to prevent such ugly scenes that we've witnessed. First, though, some footages this week as we followed the Ghana Revenue Authority on their campaign to clamp down on the defaulting businesses, as reported by Joy Business.
They were not issuing the E-VAT invoice. Then Palace Mall, they are also issuing receipts with duplicate signature of the Commissioner General. And then we have Snyder Shopping Center. They are also issuing non-E-VAT invoice. And then we have Fresh First Limited, that's Second Cap. They are also not issuing E-VAT invoice. All these places are centered at Spintex.
The operation is a continuation of the electronic VAT enrollment system, which was introduced by the authority in the last quarter of 2022. According to the Commissioner for Domestic Revenue and the Ghana Revenue Authority, Edward Jambra, some of the companies that have been engaged to begin with the process have compromised the system and acting contrary to the law.
Some of these taxpayers who have been hooked on, who are supposed to have been hooked on to the Commissioner General's invoicing system, are not fully complying with the directive. And what we saw was that some of them were issuing invoices outside the system. And as a result, these are infractions. These are, they have fractured the law.
Managers that were affected by today's exercise include China Mall, Snyder Shopping Center, Palace Mall, Second Cap Coffee, all on the Spintex Road, and ShopRite at the Junction Mall. Meanwhile, manager in charge of enforcement for Accra at the Ghana Revenue Authority, Joseph Anan, disclosed that all the managers arrested will be made to face the law court to defend themselves.
We have brought them to our customs head office. We are going to take their statement, and then the CID will continue with their investigation, and then we'll see what happens next.
So after taking their statements, like you say, the CID is going to do investigation. Whilst doing the investigation, what will be happening to them?
What will happen is that definitely they have been arrested, so somebody will have to bail them. But beyond that, we are looking forward to prosecution, because it looks like they are not taking us serious. Because we have just started a new process and already look at what is happening. Probably they want us to bar our teeth at them before they do the right thing, and that we shall surely do. We are looking forward to seeing some of them in court.
The exercise is expected to continue until all selected shops for E-VAT system complied with.
Well, a wrap of that journey, but let's get more from the Ghana Revenue Authority. Joining us now is Joseph Anan. He is the team lead for the Ghana Revenue Authority undertaking this crackdown and joins me now for a conversation on this. Thank you for your time. First of all, tell us about this crackdown and why has this become necessary for the Ghana Revenue Authority?
Thank you and good afternoon to your listeners. Yes, like you already know, we started this program, that is the E-VAT electronic invoice. We started 1st of October, and we started with 50 taxpayers, and we were expecting them to be compliant. So what we did was to allow them to settle down and now move in and then see whether they are compliant by buying from them, and then see whether they will issue the appropriate invoice. That is the certified true copy. That should come from the system. The new system works this way. Once you sell and you are on our system, that's the platform, It gives us real-time reporting at our end. And there are some security features on the receipt that is issued from the system. So we bought from them, and we are still buying from them. And once we get an invoice or a receipt that does not conform to the required standard, then obviously you are committed an offense, and definitely we will bring you to book. And so currently what we are doing is going after those who are trying to evade tax by not issuing the specified invoice from the system. So what you have seen us do from Monday to Thursday was to move in on those who are trying to shortchange us by not issuing the correct invoice.
How long do you intend to sustain this campaign? Many say it could be a 9-day wonder. You're just doing this for a while and it will all come to nothing.
Well, if that is their thinking, then they should revise their notes, because this is going to continue and even go beyond 2023, because this is a new system we have introduced. And once taxpayers are compliant, we are sure of getting all the revenue that they make out of their sale, so that we can also determine how much taxes are involved. So definitely, it is just not getting them on the system, but also making sure that they comply. And we are going to make sure that the 50 that are on board comply, so that those that will join them will know that you can't just be with us and then take things for granted.
Are you certain that these businesses have been trained on how to fully implement the E-VAT system? There are concerns that it's a new system, and so possibly that's why you don't have compliance going well.
Yeah, you see, the problems are many and varied. There are some that are genuinely facing some challenges. And we do understand that since it's a new system, definitely we'll have some challenges. So as we run along, as we continue using the system, we'll be able to correct these challenges as we move forward. But you're looking at a situation where you have duplication of QR code. You have a duplication of signatures. Then you should know surely that this is not an error. It is a way of trying to beat the system. Because once you do that, you have maybe 4 or 5 receipts bearing the same QR code. What it means is that even if there should be any reporting at all, only one will be reported at our end. The rest of the 4 or 5 definitely will not be recorded at our end. And that is obviously revenue leakage.
The business community appears to be criticizing you for being fixated on the so-called high-income earners in terms of the category of businesses that you're targeting in this exercise. The corporates we've seen so far are from either shopping malls or big retail centers. Is that the approach you're adopting now? And is it fair to say you're being fixated on these so-called foreign companies?
No, that is not the case. It seems to be the case, but that is not the case. In selecting the 50, we looked at their revenues, we looked at the complexity of the businesses and other parameters. So we have among these 50, some that are small and some that are big. We have some, in fact, it's a tall list. So this is not the end of our enforcement exercise. So as the days run along, you will see some small businesses also. That is if they don't revise their notes. But we have a list that we are working with. So it's not targeting big, small, or foreign companies. We are looking at all companies that fail to comply with the E-VAT invoicing system.
What will be the corresponding effect on our revenue mobilization agenda?
Of course, once these things start and it's not checked, then the implication, as you all know, will be there. So it's better to start now when you have 50 of them, so that you check these things before they foster because we are going to roll out, get more on board, and make sure that once you start issuing invoice from your system, it is going to be on our platform, the electronic invoicing system. So it's very, very appropriate to tighten the knots now, so that whoever comes on board knows that this is how it is done. But if you let loose and people take us for granted and do as it pleases them, then obviously we won't get what we actually want from the system. Because this system has been introduced to plug loopholes, so that going forward we'll get the actuals. Because now, as it is now, before we introduce this system, taxpayers are paying the tax all right, but then we don't get the actual taxes that are paid. So anytime we go in to conduct audits, we see that we are getting more than what they declare to us.
Already, your task force has picked up some individuals, as we've pointed out in our report. What's likely to be the fate of these persons if they indeed fall foul of the law?
Yeah, what is happening is that once they have gone against the law, which is for you to, once you are hooked to our system, there is a prescribed receipt that you must issue. Once you go against that, you have actually committed an offense. And then there are infractions, there are penalties that go with these infractions. And when you come into our VAT Act that we have used, or we use to, administer the tax, we have Section 58, Section 59, that talks about the penalty that goes with these infractions. So we are looking at a maximum penalty of 1,500 penalty units. And the penalty units is about 12 Ghana cedis. It's actually 12 Ghana cedis. And then you are looking at an imprisonment of not more than 5 years, or both. But where we are able to establish the tax that is payable, which you fail to pay, then that amount is, as penalty, will be 3 times. That is, you are going to pay 300%. That is the maximum as penalty. That is, if you are able to establish how much we have lost.
Let's talk about the next steps. But where are you heading next? Obviously, you wouldn't want to put out your approach in the public. So it's fair to say you would not be able to mention the specifics. But what's going to be the next line of action after going to some of these shops, arresting and picking up people who are defaulters? What are we likely to see again in terms of the clampdown on tax evaders?
Now, for now, those that we have arrested, the CID is currently investigating. They were made to take their statements and they were billed. So now the CID is currently building the docket against them. They are investigating these taxpayers. And going forward, like I said, we have a list that we are working with. So you will see more of such actions in future.
If there's any other problem this situation is bringing up, it will be the issue of education and awareness creation. I mean, many, frankly, have not heard about this E-VAT system, you agree? So what do you intend to do in terms of educating, creating awareness, and trying to get more businesses to roll on?
Yes. Brought on board, that's the 50. Had some good education. The implementation even started. But of course, education never ends. So even what we are doing now is education. And we hope to, going forward, to educate them more. Currently, they even have a platform that they post their challenges on. And that platform, we are also on that platform. So we share ideas where they are having challenges. We go in there and see what the challenges are and see how to resolve them. So we going forward, we are currently doing it, but going forward, we need to, do a lot more of that.
And just as we wrap up, I'm also being drawn to public participation. Obviously, you want citizens to be on board in policing the system. So for instance, if I walk into any of the shops that's not compliant in terms of this E-VAT system, how do I realize that? How do I identify that indeed there's a shortfall here, a reason for which I could perhaps GRA to moving.
Yes, yes, it's a good, addition to our drive. There are some features that should be represented on a receipt, like the signature, the barcode. We have the QR code, the thing should be there. Actually, I should have all the elements that the previous VAT invoice has, and additional ones like the barcode, which can be read electronically, and then the signature. And then, of course, the other features that, but then obviously these things we should have probably an handout on that, some of these things to educate the public so that they can also help us in, checking compliance and also making sure that taxpayers do the right thing.
So let me give you the opportunity to speak to the business community and those who may be hiding and obviously are not being picked up by your system. What message do you have for such individuals?
Yes, what I will say to the public is that we are all in this together. Yes, that GRA has been given the mandate to mobilize revenue. And that is what we do, and that is what we are paid for. So once this is the direction that we are going, it is not an idea wonder. Now this is how we are going to approach tax mobilization, revenue mobilization. So please, if you think in the past you were evading taxes and nothing was happening, then you must revise your notes, because this time around, we are going to be there every day. We'll visit you every day. And now the public is also getting much more interested. In fact, this morning I've even received 2 invoices from the public that we are going to work on. And I believe that going forward, we have a lot more of that. So please, do the right thing. If you do not understand some of these things, approach any of our officers, and I'm sure that will be of help to you. Because after all, we are all in this together. When we collect these monies, it doesn't stay with GRA. It goes straight into the consolidated fund. Now we are even doing electronic declaration and electronic payment by the taxpayers themselves. So all we do is paperwork. Everything goes straight to the bank and then straight to the consolidated fund. So please, let's together put our hands on the deck and then make sure that we all do the right thing for the trading public, the taxpayers. If you do not understand some of these things, just approach us so that going forward you don't find yourself on the wrong side of the law.
Okay then. All right, time to go. Joseph Anand, thank you for joining us and spending some time with us here on the Pulse.